Hey, Yinz guys and gals, gather round for a journey like no other. It's time to hop on board the Where Yinz Goin podcast, proudly brought to you by Dreams by Design Travel. From the rivers that meet at the point to form downtown Pittsburgh to the furthest corners of the globe, that'll be your compass, your confidant, your companion in that as we explore the wonders of travel. Kick back, relax on your couch, and let the wanderlust wash over Yinz as we discover new horizons and reminisce about old favorites. With Dreams by Design Travel by our side, the sky's the limit. Join Matt on the Where Yinz Goin podcast because when it comes to travel, the journey's just getting started. And now, without further ado, let's give a shout for your guide through the highways and byways of travel, the man with a map, the voice of the stale city, Matt Trader.
How Yinz doing? Welcome to the Where Yinz Goin podcast, brought to you by Dreams by Design Travel. I'm Matt. I'm your host. Joining me today is Maureen, who has been a travel advisor since 2017, is consistently one of the top advisors at Dreams by Design Travel, and is the longest tenured travel advisor for our company, which just reached its 9th anniversary a little while ago. So welcome to the podcast, Maureen.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So it's great to have you with us. And I like to start every podcast with this same question. What is your favorite place that you've ever visited, or is there a place that you would still like to visit the most?
My favorite place tends to be whatever cruise I'm on and where I'm going to. But my favorite places so far have been Hawaii, to be there. Aulani's beautiful. Love Vancouver, British Columbia. If anyone ever has a chance to go, they need to go visit Vancouver. And then my favorite place we cruise to is Bermuda. Been there several times, and it's just a beautiful island with beautiful people.
That's great.
Now, where would I want to go? Scotland and Ireland. That's on my bucket list right now.
And we were just talking before we started recording that I'm a little more than a third Irish. So getting over there to kiss the Blarney Stone and seeing this was 25 years ago that we went to Germany, my sister and we went to see my now brother-in-law. He was over there for school, and we went to pay a visit, and we flew as we were flying over, we took a red eye, and it was the sun was just rising as we were going over Ireland, and the sun hit the green, and
Oh my gosh.
it was so pretty from 30,000 feet, seeing just this
Wow.
green island at sunrise. It was so gorgeous.
It's just emerald, just like what they say.
The Emerald
Yeah.
Isle. It's not like the whole Iceland Greenland thing where they lied about it. This is actual. It earned this nickname.
Awesome. That sounds beautiful.
And you mentioned about Vancouver that I had a couple that went to Alaska on a cruise earlier this year for their 20th anniversary. And it was a one-way cruise that they flew to Alaska, spent some time there, and then cruised down to Vancouver and got to spend the day there before their flight home. And just some of the natural beauty of that. I remember seeing that on the Olympics, 20 years ago, whenever they were there, the Winter Olympics, and so gorgeous.
It's beautiful. We were there for several days before we took the train into Seattle, which is also really fun, and I love trains. But Vancouver themselves, it's a very walkable city, and so you can walk anywhere. The parks are gorgeous. Stanley Park is beautiful, and they've got an aquarium there. We went up to Grouse Point, my daughter and I did, to Grouse Mountain, and we ziplined, and that was fabulous. It was just gorgeous. And my husband flew a seaplane when they were in Vancouver. So there's something for everybody. The food is amazing. The people are fantastic. I would go back in a heartbeat.
There's so much of Canada that is just, so much of the United States and Canada is just so pretty. Just the national parks and everything. And you mentioned about the trains. We're going to have an episode coming up here a little while later that's going to be about the Rocky Mountaineer, both
Yes.
the Canada version and the US version.
That's one of my goals, is the Rocky Mountaineer in Canada.
And you also mentioned Aulani, that another fellow travel advisor, Katie, who's been on this podcast several times, she's going to go to Aulani coming up pretty soon here.
Pretty soon. We've talked about that. Yes, she'll be there pretty soon.
Whenever she gets back, we're going to, I'm going to talk to her about it, and maybe her husband's going to join too. But we might invite you along too.
There you go. Aulani's fabulous. I mean, that is just, there's nothing like it.
we'll have to see if our schedules can match up, but it's Disney mixed with Hawaii.
Yeah, it's very much mixed with Hawaii. It's Joe Rohde has taken Hawaii like he's done Animal Kingdom Lodge, and embraced that whole culture. And the people that are there are very proud of that culture and they share it. And it's amazing. It's an incredible place to go.
And Joe Rohde, I love that guy. He is
Oh yeah.
brilliant. I mean, if you ever watch interviews with him, he's a kind of an out there guy, but he is out there in a way that gets him in touch with different cultures and different experiences, and just his artistic mind at making things look like the way they should look. He's fabulous. I'm sad that he retired from Disney.
We just watched the Disney D23
Mhm.
did their awards, and he was on, and it's just to watch the tribute to him and all that he's accomplished. It was incredible. I would love to sit and talk to that man. I'd
Oh
be in
yeah.
awe. I mean, just in awe.
I'll send out some feelers, see if we can get him on a podcast
Oh, there
anytime
you
soon.
go.
But yeah, good luck with that. So,
It's always, dreams, right?
but what we have Maureen on here to talk about is Disney Cruise Line, and specifically their new island tropical paradise, Disney Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point. So this is on the southern part of, and help me make sure I pronounce this, the name of the island correct is Eleuthera.
Eleuthera is what I was told.
Eleuthera. Okay.
That's what I was told.
Putting the emphasis in the right
Right,
syllable,
right,
that type of thing.
exactly.
All right. And it's in the Bahamas,
Hmm.
and it comes from the Greek word for free. So
True.
interesting little tidbit. It's about 50 miles east of Nassau, and the island itself is about 110 miles long, and at the narrowest, it's about a mile wide, but at its narrowest point, it's only about 30 feet wide. So that's pretty interesting
And it's beautiful.
and beautiful. Yeah, I've seen the pictures of it, but Maureen has gotten to see it firsthand, which is why she's here to talk all about it and tell us how amazing it was. But we were recently in Puerto Rico, and flying back, it wasn't over the Bahamas, or was it over the Bahamas? Yeah, we flew over them. That we got to see some of the islands, just looking at the plane, just seeing just these little islands dotting around with the crystal clear blue water. And oh man, again, seeing stuff from 30,000 feet that just takes your breath away.
And the water really truly was crystal clear. It was beautiful. And
So,
turquoise.
oh yes, it was interesting flying over top, and you get to see that turquoise right close to the little islands and the atolls and whatever else, and then you get to see the change of the color of the water going a little bit darker blue
Hmm.
as it goes farther out. And it's like something, if I was a painter, I would love to paint that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, it was just as you're walking towards the water, it's beautiful.
And with Lighthouse Point, their design elements were inspired by nature, that they have more curvy organic shapes, they have a lot of vibrant colors. They tried to pull in the local culture.
Very much the local culture. Yes, that's what we, especially after you've taken the tram from the ship all the way to the main part of it, they have just all their colors and it's just very much the natural. The people there, you can tell again, it's that same kind of thing. They're proud of where they're from, and they're proud to share it with everyone.
And the Disney didn't just come in and try to replicate this, that they partnered with local artists, historians, and cultural ambassadors to make sure that this was as an authentic an experience and as authentic, an area as you can possibly get, using the colors, the music, the festive spirit of the Bahamian street culture. It's called Junkaroo.
Right. We unfortunately didn't get to see that because we were relaxing in the adult area over at Serenity Bay, but you can see the remnants of everything around there. It was gorgeous.
And also with some of the design, they have murals, sculptures, other designs created by Bahamian artists, and some of them actually are from Eleuthera itself.
Well, and they have, when we first arrived, there's an area where they have the artist work set up that you can purchase. And I was told by one of the guests on our cruise, they made the mistake of not purchasing when they first walked by it. And when they came back, it was gone. So there's a hint. If you see something you like, get it now.
And that's true for just about anything, especially with if you are trying to, if you're traveling and you work with one of our travel advisors and we give you a price quote of, okay, here's this cruise, it's going to be this much. If it's a good price that you like, or here's these plane flights and here's the price for it. If it's something you like, jump on it. Because I had that happen with a couple clients that I gave them a quote on airfare and they waited just 3 or 4 days and it jumped a couple $100.
Oh, yeah.
And he looked at it, was like, am I seeing this wrong? Did I put the right flight in? I was like, no, supply and demand, and it jumped up. And so yeah, it doesn't jump down too often either.
No.
So when you arrive, when your cruise ship arrives, there is a very, very long pier that
Okay.
takes you. But there is a tram that will connect the port that's on the west to the beaches and activities and pools that are on the east. They're about a mile and a half apart. So you don't have to walk at all. There is the tram. So it's a bit of a long way, but there is something you can take that you're not going to walk your feet off.
Well, you're gonna walk from the ship to where the tram is. So
you get a
that's
little,
about a half a mile.
get your
But
steps in.
you get your steps in. We timed it. It took us 12 minutes with a stop for pictures because as you're walking that pathway going towards there, if you turn and face the ship, it is absolutely beautiful. You get the best photo opportunity to get a gorgeous picture of the ship. And yes, they do have some PhotoPass people sitting there on there taking pictures for you as you go, and many other people. And just so that you could break it up, about halfway down, they do have cast members from the ship handing out cold towels and ice water. So, because it's warm, but it took us 12 minutes with a stop, and we weren't working fast. I will say that if you have any physical disabilities, or if you are needing any kind of assistance, if you ask guest services ahead of time, they do have some golf carts that will take you from the ship all the way to where the tram is. I also noticed when I was taking pictures on that side where we were still on deck, they had about 8 or 9 strollers sitting out there, and actually wagons out there that they could request for the kids to put the kids in the wagons and pull them out to where the tram was too. So they do have some things setting out there. It's not for everyone, but if you have some problems or you need some assistance, I would check with guest services, and they do have at least the golf carts, and then they have the wagons for the families with kids.
And this is something else that when you are planning this cruise with your Dreams by Design travel advisor, let us know that you would need this, and we can request that beforehand and get that well ahead of time, just in case, because they only have a limited number. They have a decent amount, but it's still a limited number. And if it's one of those cruises and a lot of people request it, we can get in there early enough to make those requests and have that note made. So going along through some of the things that they have there, there's the Goon Bay Cultural Center that has special programs and local artists, and you can learn about and celebrate these traditions with the local beauty of the Bahamas. So, and this is kind of what Maureen was saying before about you're going to see these the works of art that are by the artists and other things that you don't want to pass that up.
No, don't pass it up. And as you get off the tram, right before that cultural center is one of the first stores as well. And that's another place that there was lines out all circling because people were seeing things they wanted and they didn't want to take a chance. And so before they headed out to the beach, they were stopping to get what they wanted along the way.
And we're going to spend a lot of the time talking about the adult area, which Maureen spent most of her time on, but we're going to touch on the family and kids areas too, which, as you expect, it's a Disney cruise. So of course they have a bunch of this stuff, amazing things to do. Maureen's going to add some color commentary to this as well. But we're going to focus a lot on the adult area, which she's still gushing about. So we
did stop and see the kids area. We really did. We took pictures. That looked like it was a tremendous amount of fun. If I had little kids, they would be all over it with the water park play kind of thing they have there. It was great. It was awesome.
So just run down a little bit of list of some of the things. There's is it Mabrika Cove?
That's how I said it.
So, and They have some cabanas there that you can rent. Renting the cabanas does cost a little bit extra, but just being in the cove and being able to splash around in the water, that is all absolutely included.
And there's
They
lots
ha-
of chairs with umbrellas and everything in the beach area.
so yeah, it's not like you're going to just be, sitting on the sand the whole time. Yeah, is provided. But if you want the private cabana, special place to keep your things out and away and all the amenities go with that, there is an extra cost. Um, what Mario mentioned before was the rush out, gush out water play area that has 2 slides, interactive water play area, drums, and you can make waves in different fountains and things like that. So it's,
It looked
yeah,
really fun.
I have a little 4-year-old and I think she's part fish, that she will be in the water and does not want to come out. So going on water, we've actually been to some a little bit bigger water parks, and she has been disappointed that she cannot go on some of the bigger water slides. And it's like, I want to go on that one, Daddy. It's like, well, when you're a little bigger, I am big. I can go on.
Hmm.
Trust me, I'm good. It's like, well, for legal issues and safety maybe we should come. We'll come back. Okay, we'll be back later. It's okay. They also have a family beach has obviously you can go swimming there, and then there's other water activities. Although depending on the tides and the weather, they may disallow that. So if there's a big undertow or something along those lines, or if there's storm activity in the area where the waves are a little bit too uh, ferocious, although normally not too bad, I have been on beaches where they say, okay, it's a little bit too much today. So you can still enjoy the beach and your sandcastle making and all that other fun stuff, burying dad in the sand, things along those lines.
Right, right.
And even beyond that, they have what's called the Play Pavilion that has a lot of family activities. So if you don't necessarily want to be in the sand or in the water, and I don't know how my daughter got her, part fish thing. It definitely did not come from me. That I found out through my life that I don't necessarily like to be soaking wet in any way, shape, or form. So it turns out on all the water rides, whenever we go to amusement parks, I always get the wettest. And
Yeah, I was gonna say you'll get drenched because you don't want to be.
exactly. So even swimming, I know how to swim, good swimmer. My parents have a pool in their backyard, and that's what we did all summer long when we were kids. But as an adult, it's like, okay, I think I swam myself out as a kid. That I mean, I do all that stuff because it's still fun for a while, but after a bit, it's okay. I'm good. So having some dry activities is definitely a plus. And playing on the Disney theme of everything, they have Sebastian's Cove, which is more for younger kids and their activities. And then Triton's Trumpet Stage. So there is going to be live entertainment. There's music and everything that goes along there. That if you just want to sit back and relax and enjoy that, you have those options.
And they have characters.
Yes, you can. So it's Disney, so you're going
It's
to see
Disney. You're going to see Mickey Mouse, and you're going to see Minnie Mouse, and they're all dressed in their Bahamian costumes, which is really cool. You're not going to see them like they're on the ship. They're going to be dressed culturally. It's very fun.
And I saw they really, well, this was well before the island opened earlier this summer, but they released all the different outfits and the pictures of it, and you can find them online if you haven't seen them. But they're so colorful, and it
Very,
fits the vibe of you just see the outfits. It's like, yeah, they're in the
yep,
Bahamas.
yep, that's where I am. Yep.
There's also the Gaga ball pit, and then they also have volleyball. So, of course,
There's
it's a
plenty
beach.
to do for everybody on the family beach. Yep, there is.
So and then so that's all mainly on the eastern end of the eastern side of the island, and more towards the south is
Right.
where the family stuff is. More towards the north, and so it's a little bit farther away from with the tram is it is where the adult area is, and it's called Serenity Bay.
And it's gorgeous. So if you've ever been, we were very fortunate on this cruise because we had a double dip. We had Lookout, and then we also had Castaway. So we did Lookout Key first, and then we had Castaway Key. So we got to do both. And we did Serenity Bay, both, of course. And Serenity Bay, as it has similarities to Castaway, but it is also very different. And I really, really liked it. One of the things that's really interesting, because they're trying to maintain the nature and the natural part of this, and not they're trying to hold their resources. They have boardwalks to walk through, so they're not walking through the sand. They've not put concrete sidewalks anywhere. They built boardwalks to walk across the sand to get from point A to point B. So when you get off the tram, you go through the shopping, you go through the cultural center, and you make the left-hand turn, you hit the boardwalk, and you're heading all the way down to where the Serenity Bay is. And what's really fun is, if you've been to Castaway, Castaway Cay is beautiful and Serenity is awesome, but it's one long beach. At Serenity Bay at Lookout, there's a section of beach that's kind of behind the dune, so it's not right on the water, and it has lots of umbrellas and lots of seats, and it's very relaxing. You can hear the music. Then you walk over the dune on a boardwalk, and you go down to the beach, and you have more chairs and more umbrellas and the water, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And you can walk from one end of the beach to the other. You can walk from Serenity all the way to the Family and back again on the beach. And then we took a sidewalk. As you get down, you make a left, and you can walk down to where it says you're no longer part of the Disney beach, but you're still on the Bahamian beach, but you're just walking into it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
So if you want your quiet time and just some alone time, just to stroll on a gorgeous beach to get away from it all, that you have that opportunity as well, which
Sure do.
again, brilliant planning.
Right.
And also, if you want your private cabana to relax on, you can also rent those. Again, it will cost a little bit extra, but as Maureen said, there's the included areas where you can lounge with the umbrellas and the lounge chairs and everything. Just the private cabanas, if you're going to go that extra step, will be in a little added expense. And Maureen, before we go too much farther, where else did you go on this cruise?
Oh, this was beautiful. This was a 10-day cruise. It was Southern Caribbean, and we went to Antigua, Saint Lucia, Tortola, and Saint Lucia. I'm missing one. Dominica. I'm sorry, Dominica. We learned that when we were there. It is not Dominica. It is Dominica.
Yeah, don't confuse it with the Dominican
No,
Republic.
no.
This is a different
No,
one.
no.
This is Dominica.
Yes,
it's a
they told us
separate
Dominica.
island.
It's a separate island, but yeah, it was fabulous.
And we are lucky enough that we get access to webinars and other things about so many different destinations. Last week, I was just on one about St. Lucia. I've done some before about Dominica, and I actually know someone who's from and lives in Antigua, that lovely lady that I've talked to her, and she's described her, the island she's from, and such fabulous places, all of them.
Well, we were very fortunate because we have a friend that moved from Texas to Tortola probably 7 or 8 years ago, and he and his family moved there, and he met us at the dock and spent the entire day with us, going from one end of that island to the other with all his favorite places. And he's a private chef on the island, so he knew all these really cool places to take us to. It was amazing. And yes, this is the Disney cruise, and yes, we are 2 adults without children.
And this just emphasizes the fact that it's not always about what you know, but it's about who you know.
You know.
Knowing a chef who lives in paradise and gives you a private tour of the island, that's how you live the good life.
It was, yeah, that became one of my favorite places. That's it right there.
So all I have to do is just become friends with Maureen and her chef friend, and you get the private tour. No, that's fabulous. But even if you don't know, someone who lives on the island, Disney offers the shore excursions that it is the brilliance of Disney that I don't know. I can't remember the schedule, if it's going to come out before this or after this episode, but I talked to Donna, our boss, about Adventures by Disney and her trips, and just the level of detail they go through with that the shore excursions, it's often you're going to get similar treatment.
It's the Disney special treatment that you get. Exactly. it's the Disney magic.
Yeah. And speaking of that, well, before I don't want to move on too quickly, was there anything more you wanted to add about Serenity Bay?
No, you were going to touch on the food and everything. We can touch now if you want to, or you want to,
Yeah, we might as well. Let's just jump ahead and talk about food because
because food's
who doesn't
good.
like, yeah, who doesn't like talking about food?
The one part we wish we could have changed it was that we didn't do it. It's because only we didn't want to leave Serenity Bay. We ate at the Serenity Bay Barbecue, which is the adults only. That one was very similar to the one at Castaway Cay. So it was very much our hamburgers, some chicken, hot dogs, the potato, the very similar thing. True Blue Barbecue and True Blue 2 Barbecue on the island have the new menu, and they have the one with the seafood and rice bowls and the fish and the beach barbecue burgers and all these really neat, cool menu items. They were not on Serenity Bay, and I'm not sure if that's because maybe it was just still new. We are still really new with that maybe they hadn't gotten them there, but we didn't have that same selection. Food was great. It was still fun. We had a great place to eat. They have lots of tables. They had live music, but I really wish I would have gone up because I wanted to try one of those seafood rice bowls.
And just to elaborate a little bit more on the food offerings, is that it's a market style dining thing where there's several different windows to order from. So pick whichever one you want to go to. And if you are, especially if you're in the adults only area, that if you each want different things, you can divide and conquer and split up. And so you can reduce your weight a little bit. That's the one thing I don't like about, especially in the land at Walt Disney World Resort, that they have the different
Oh, the
where
places,
the
yeah.
dining, yeah, the different food things. And if you each want something different, then you have to either split up or wait in several lines. And if you had kids,
It's a little more difficult. Yeah, it's a
one
challenge.
the one thing Disney did not do perfectly. Okay, so we'll get that out of the way. But anyway, yeah, the flavorful fish, the chicken and seafood rice bowls, barbecued ribs and rotisserie chicken, beach barbecue burgers, and of course, ice cream.
I was gonna say, just like on the ship, you got ice cream places. You can get your ice cream both at with the kids, the family, and the Serenity Bay. Always have ice cream.
And there's also an extra kids dining area at Sebastian's Cove, so geared mainly towards kids. There's also Mangroves and Go, which is coffee, beer, refreshers, Dole Whips. So of course, there are Dole Whips.
They have
So,
unique Dole Whips that are specific just to the island, which is really fun too.
do you remember the specifics about the
I
flavors
was
there?
looking at one. I'm trying to remember what it was because there was a multitude of different flavors. I don't know if I can find it or not. I was looking the other night. I was trying to remember what it was, but it was besides your pineapple, there's a like very tropical flavors, but they're mixed up together.
That and we've been to places that have had like different ice cream things or whatever. That actually it was when we were in Puerto Rico. We were in San Juan. It actually was old San Juan, right by El Moro, which is and the Castillo de San Cristobal, which is like the biggest Spanish built fortification in the New World. And Del Moro, they're maybe not even a mile apart there, but there's they had little areas there we could shop, and they were selling ice cream. And my wife and my little girl each got these little. It was more of a fruity, like sorbet type ice cream thing that they got a combination of some of the different flavors, and they were kind of sharing them back and forth. And my wife said, "Oh my gosh, just the tropical, the freshness of it, and
Yeah.
the this fruit was picked that morning and crushed up and made into these little fruit smoothie things
Oh
or
my
whatever they were.
gosh.
That it was just you cannot beat that. That she's from a tropical island. She's from Indonesia, and
Oh
even she says
wow.
like when we go home that getting bananas from there and oranges from there, that there's something special about things that are grown in that climate when you can get them that fresh that it just tastes so much better.
I found it. It's mango, pineapple, and mango boba.
Oh wow.
That's what it was. I knew I could find it.
Okay, can we just like stop now and book a cruise there so we can try that?
I'm okay with that. Yes, let's do that.
That just sounds amazing. And they also have sensational smoothies. So
Yeah, they
don't
had
worry.
some smoothies too. Yeah, and that was more before you got to that, like before we got to where we were on Serenity Bay. It's as they're going along there. I was looking to see if I can remember which ones they were, but they had some really good ones. And they have coffee too. So if you're wanting to get off the ship early, you go to their place and you get your really cool coffee drinks too.
Or whenever you're on the beach and you're, spending the whole day on the go, and then we're coming back to the cruise and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm just wiped out. You get that little jolt of caffeine that'll keep you up enough for dinner and
Boost
the
for dinner.
show
That's
before you
right.
crash in your stateroom.
That's right. That's right.
They also have a couple of bars there. There's the Blue Hole Bar, which is adults only. There's the Bow and Ribbon Bar, the Watering Hole Bar, and the Reef and Wreck Bar.
It's interesting because we were noticing that at and I think this is at all the bars, they have one of their beers is from a brewery in Nassau. And I like seeing that because it shows that they're using the local. It's called Pirates Republic is the brewery in Nassau. And they have a Pirates Republic pineapple pilsner at one of their offerings on the island. And we have been to Pirates Republic when we go to Nassau. So it's fun to see that they've got one of the brews that we have tasted when we've been on vacation before.
That's pretty neat. Again, it really ties it in that they're trying to stay local, promote the local culture, promote the local businesses, and that it's not just Disney's coming in to take over this. It's we want to partner with and give a more of an authentic experience in this location.
Right.
And of course, Mari mentioned their shopping, which
There's always shopping, yes.
that's please exit through the gift shop. And but the problem that I always have in Disney is not buying things that it's, oh, that looks so great. Oh, but that one looks so great too. And then there's that one that I really would like. And I just really like that shirt. And especially my little girl, it was okay, you get your one thing to pick. Oh no, I want that. Okay, you sure? No, I want that. And it's so many amazing things that you just want to buy. And it's like, okay, it's not even a matter of how much money do I have, it's how much room do I have in my luggage. But then, and then actually,
yes. Go ahead.
we did this on one trip that we actually bought another suitcase to
I was
take
going to
stuff
say
home with.
we saw several people actually buying suitcases the last night of the trip. It was really pretty funny.
So it is a thing. You can do it. And don't
They
worry,
also have the hair braiding, just like they do at Castaway Cay. They have the hair braiding for the little girls too, and the guys, because there's some boys in there that got some hair braiding too.
something that I will not have in those. I was watching on the simulcast. I don't have much hair, so. But I just like to think I'm aerodynamic with that. So
There you go. There you go.
and just the names of the shops is the First and Last Chance Stand, which is by the dock. And so
Yes, literally, it is. As you get off the dock before you hit onto the tram, it is right there. And then it's right back there when you go to go back on again.
okay, so we had one of us froze. I don't know if it was Maureen or me. One of our internets decided that it didn't want to work real quick or for a minute. So we just finished talking about Disney Tings, which is one of the other shops on the island. There's also Treasures of, is it Eleuthera, you said?
Eleuthera. Yeah, that's
Eleuthera. Make sure I get the emphasis right. And then was it Plates and Pleats, which is
the
the
hair
hair braiding
braiding.
that
Yep.
Maureen mentioned before.
Yep. The treasures of Eleuthera are more the things that are from the natives, not the Disney things so much.
which is nice that they are separated,
Yes,
that it's, things that are authentic, and it's not, I don't want to say cheapened by having all the Disney stuff there, but that you don't get the full experience the way it's supposed to be.
right. And
So
this
the
is, they're really trying to respect that and to immerse you in that. And I think they've done a really good job with it.
and having the separation really is a step in the right direction for that. Yeah, for sure. Next thing we want to hit on are the port adventures. So if spending your time either in the family area or just relaxing or doing whatever you need to do in Serenity Bay is not enough for you, there are plenty of other activities for you to do. Now, a quick disclaimer is that even though Lighthouse Point has just opened so it's open for business, not everything is available. That some of this still is under development. And as Maureen mentioned, there is a lot of the island that is left undeveloped strictly because they want you to have the experience of being on this tropical paradise without having concrete sidewalks and a hotel here and whatever else. So they're trying to do a very good job of being environmentally conscious of this. So as they're making these, new offerings available, it's done in a way so that, things might be a little bit slower because they're trying to be careful around those areas.
For instance, we like to ride the bikes on Castaway Cay, and we saw the bikes when we got off the tram. And I asked, and they said they're not quite ready to have those yet. They're still working on the paths that they're going to allow us because they want us to be able to ride on paths without disturbing the natural habitat that's there. So they're still working on some of the things. Snorkeling was there. People were snorkeling. I did not snorkel this time. Normally I love to, and we just chose not to. But I did see people doing snorkeling.
We got to do snorkeling whenever we were in Indonesia this past summer on a little island. It's called Palau Way. Palau is the Indonesian word for island. So, and there's a um, small little area there that they would let you even do scuba diving, which I got to do with
Oh,
my
wow.
sister-in-law and brother-in-law. So we didn't have to get certified because we didn't go deep enough, but we got to go through just the little basics. And then my wife and my daughter, and then all the nieces and nephews and other in-laws who were all on this trip. There were a bunch of us that they all went snorkeling. And then when we were done, we snorkeled with them for a while. And oh, it was so clear, and the amazing fish that you see. And my little girl kept trying to reach out and grab the fish. And of course, they're a whole lot faster than she was. And
Well,
so she got a little frustrated.
I've snorkeled at Castaway Cay, and it's great. It's wonderful. I think that the water at Lighthouse is even more clear, and I can't imagine how pretty it was to snorkel there.
And that is saying something, that the water is more clear.
No, it truly was. Yeah. I mean, you could walk out into the water and easily see, you could be waist to chest level and still see feet. It's just, it's truly incredible, beautifully. It really is.
That usually doesn't happen at the beaches that I'm used to going to, especially when I was in college in Erie, Pennsylvania on Lake Erie. It's
Oh, no.
you walk 2 inches into the water. It's like, I can't see my feet anymore.
Now, the one excursion that I heard people did take that was available was the Pirates of Eleuthera Adventure Tour. And they get to find a buried treasure, and they have a pirate and they have a map. And the families that I overheard talking on the ship that took their kids, that the kids really had a good time with that. It was just something different and something unique. And of course, Disney cast members really made that magical for them. So it was a lot of fun.
And if there's one thing that Disney does well, and they do so many things well, but if there's one thing you want to focus on that Disney does well, it is storytelling.
Hmm.
That having that environment and having the immersing you in a certain environment or in that story as you're going along that really captivates you is their forte, and that's what they are just so good at, which leads to them being so good at so many other things,
Right.
is the storytelling. And just an idea of some of the other things is the Bahama Bank Boat Escape, which you get to go on a catamaran. There's also Banana Boat, which again we got to do one of those in Indonesia, and oh, my little girl loved it, especially whenever they purposely tipped us over and we
Oh
went
no.
flying into the water. Then we got to do that twice. Yeah, we did it once, we climbed back on, and then we got to do it again later on. And my little girl was like, "Can we do it again? I want to fall into the water." And she just talked about it for days. That um just being on that and bouncing around, it they're so much fun. I really enjoy those. As Mari mentioned, there's bike rentals, especially that will be coming along a lot more later on. You can rent kayaks. You can do an e-bike, sand, and snorkel history tour. So they take you to several different areas, different modes of transportation, and those e-bikes are amazing. You feel like you could do the Tour de France on one of those. They have the historical nature and awesome buggy tour. So
I think that would have been neat. I didn't see anything of that yet because I said we were still really early on.
yeah, imagine the buggy is a dune buggy, so they're going to take you around there, and just riding in dune buggies. That just in and of itself is worth it. But
On a beautiful island.
exactly. They have nature walks, and going to a coral nursery. They have private historical and cultural walks that you can book. And there's the South Eleuthera, Eleuth-
Eleuthera.
Eleuthera, excuse me. It's again, talking is not my strong suit. It's a wonder I have a podcast, you know. The South Eleuthera Eco and Cultural Tour. So just hearing those names, there's definitely a theme in there that it's going for eco-friendly, it's historical stuff, it's nature walks, it's all that they are again emphasizing. We want you to be here to enjoy, one, the natural beauty, and two, the historical and cultural aspects of this island. So it's a you don't need to go that far away from home to experience something new.
Well, and I think you were right when you're talking about the storytelling, because what they're interested in doing in a lot of these is helping Eleuthera and the people tell the story of their culture. And they do it in a way that it brings you right into their world, which I think is amazing.
And that's one thing that I've experienced with traveling around literally traveling around the world, is that when you go to a different environment and whenever you are immersed in that other culture, is that you gain one, you get to experience it. And so you have those memories of being in somewhere that is often completely foreign to you, or just at least different from what you're used to. But being immersed in it is that it gives you a new appreciation for the people who come from that culture. That it might not be the thing that you want to do, all the time of, all right, I enjoy having their food sometimes, but I still like my regular burgers and dogs and pizza and whatever I normally eat at home. But at least I've tried that food. Might have a new favorite or something else I know that I want to eat again down the line. It's okay. I now understand that culture more, which is the biggest thing.
Right.
That often in the world, that what people are afraid of are things that are different, that they don't understand. But when you get the time to experience something firsthand, it really makes it personal, and it can change your mindset, that it really takes away a lot of your preconceived notions about a place.
True.
And like Maureen mentioned before, people are anxious to share their cultures with you. They are very welcoming of, please come here. I want to show you things that I'm proud of. I want to show you these things that I think are amazing with my culture that I'm very proud of. And when you're open and receptive of that, and it just makes for such a great, memorable experience.
That's one of the things, and I know Bermuda's a different island, but one of the things we love about Bermuda is their people are so proud of it and they thoroughly enjoy sharing it with you. We were on a bus from the port where we docked, and we're just talking to this woman and she's, where are you from? Why are you here? Well, let me tell you about this. And the entire ride, she's pointing these things out to us the whole way through. And then she's, thank you so much for visiting our island. It's like, it was such a welcoming, amazing feeling. And I get this so many places, like Eleuthera, those people are very happy they're here. Why, they want to share.
And that's the thing, that she's thanking you for coming to the island, and you're thanking her for for teaching you about
Right.
the island. And it's just this mutual appreciation of people. And also, whenever you travel to new places, like you said, they're often just as curious about your culture as you are about theirs. That they'll ask you questions of, "Oh, where are you from, and how's it like there?" And like when we were in Indonesia, the little kids are like, "Well, what's America like?" It's like, well, it's
It's
big.
big.
There's a lot of it. Is there anywhere specific you want me to start with? Um, but just a few things that you just comparing and contrasting. It's like, yeah, we have trees just like you have here. Some of them are the same, but we don't have quite the palm trees and the banana trees. We have different ones. And at least for the small town that my wife's from, it's like, yeah, well, our buildings are bigger, but the thing that I noticed that are the same no matter where you go are a lot of the interactions between the people.
Hmm. Yes.
And you have, the adults who are out they're making a living for their families. They're trying to raise good kids. And if you see adults with their kids interacting, they're at playgrounds, they're running around, the parents are chasing them, they're pushing them on swings. That happens all over the world, that you have these familiar interactions, between people, that whenever you focus on rather than focus on the differences of what do people do that's not the same as you, if you look at the things that people do that are the same as you, it makes such a nice connection
One
between you
of
and them.
one of my favorite memories of Bermuda, and this was many years ago. I My first trip to Bermuda, we were there, uh, a girls' trip, and we took just a bus ride through the outer areas, and we saw a dance class of little girls, probably 6 and 7 years old, taking ballet. And it's one of my favorite memories, watching these little girls in Bermuda taking their ballet classes. We sat there. It's like, those are like my little friends back at home. It's so fun. But it's just, I still think about them. It was just amazing that they took us there to be able to see these little gals doing what we do in the States. It was great.
Absolutely. We went, like, in my wife's hometown, every night they have like a little festival type thing in the one park. And there's little kids on a bounce house jumping around, and you can rent these little electric motorcycles and little cars, the little kid ones that they get, the Power Wheels type thing.
Right.
And little kids are just driving those all around. And our little girl joined right with them, and she was riding hers around. And it's she fit right in. And
Oh, yeah.
it's having fun and little things that people do again all over the place, that it really makes that connection with home, that we're not all that different at all.
Right. Right.
So I don't want to cut you short here, Maureen, if there's anything else that you wanted to
So the one thing
discuss.
I just want the one thing, and I said it was beautiful. I thought that lighthouse was absolutely beautiful. One of my favorite parts of Serenity Bay, and that's the whole beach, is that having been to Castaway Cay, and if anybody's traveled on a Disney cruise and got to Castaway Cay, the sand is very difficult to walk in. This may seem like a small thing, but it's difficult to walk in. It's very deep. It's hard to trudge through. It's just difficult. It's similar to if you've been to the Caymans. The Cayman sand is very difficult to walk through. The sand at Serenity Bay and at Lighthouse Cay, it's like this wonderful stuff that is the water is being overflowing on it, and it's kind of flatter and it's beautiful, and there's not a bunch of seashells and seaweed, and you can walk. I mean, I could have walked miles on the beach, and then the water just washes up and it's a beautiful turquoise. It was fabulous. It was fabulous.
And Maureen's just sitting back and sighing, and she has that look on her face of just dreamily reminiscing about
Yeah.
she,
The next
in,
one.
in her mind, she is at Lighthouse Point right now. So,
Yes, yes. And we were on the Fantasy, and this was the second time the Fantasy had been there. So this was many of the cast members' first time to the island, and they were as excited as everybody else was.
and that is another great point, that whenever we had Katie on to talk about her Disney cruise to Alaska,
Hmm.
is she said, talk to the cast members.
Absolutely.
That whether you're in the parks or you're at one of the hotels or you're on one of the cruises, talk to the cast members, because one, they often have fascinating stories of where they came from and their journey to get to Disney. Two, they have inside knowledge of their favorites and little trips and or little tips and tricks that can enhance your stay a little bit. And it's just, it is well worth talking to them about it.
We have met cast members on cruises that we have then gone on different cruise lines or cruise ships, same Disney cruise line. But we've met them on the Dream, we've seen them on the Fantasy, we've met them on the Magic, we've seen them on the Dream. And they remember you. And it's like, oh, Mr. Mike, Miss Maureen. And it's just the most amazing feeling. And we've learned about their families and what they're doing and how their families are and why they wanted to go on these cruise ships and why they're doing these things. Yeah, absolutely talk to them. They're amazing. This was our 14th Disney cruise. And all of us, my adult kids also love Disney cruises. Our daughter, if she can sneak her way onto a cruise with us, oh, you're going on a cruise? Can I come? It's just, I mean, they love it. They love it. And they're adults. They love it.
And I know that part of my love for Disney comes from the fact that we went when we were kids, and a lot of this is reminiscing, and it's bringing back just the fond memories of, I remember doing that with my mom and dad and my sisters, and now I want to do that with my kids and my wife and things like that. But even my wife, who her first trip to Disney was whenever I proposed to her, right before, we had been dating for a couple
Fun.
months. Yeah, it's when I proposed at Walt Disney World. And so that was her first trip. So, but now that as we've been going, almost every year or so, thank you, COVID, for not letting us go one year. But it she has developed her love of Disney too. That it's not just something, I mean, even before we had our little girl, that we would be going, and we had fabulous times of, even though it's geared towards little kids, it's not exclusively for little kids. And even on the cruise ship for adults, there are the adults only areas.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you won't go through your entire trip without seeing a little kid, but you're gonna, whenever you need to have your alone adult time, you can have your alone adult time.
And I can say that it's so much fun to watch the kids, though. Yes, you can have your adult time, but to watch the kids when they see the characters, or to watch the kids when they run into somebody and all of a sudden they see Goofy or they see Mickey Mouse or they see Cinderella, and how excited they are. That is so much fun for me to watch their faces. They're like, oh my gosh, and they get so excited. That's as much fun as me going to the adult area and sitting relaxing. It's just a different thing.
And some of the most magical, and so I have those memories from Walt Disney World too. That one time there was one of the photopass photographers was taking pictures of a little girl dressed as Snow White, that she was maybe 2 years old, could barely walk, type of thing, still stumbling around a little bit. And she was sitting in the middle of Main Street, decided she was going to sit down right in the middle of the trolley tracks. As he was taking these pictures, he got down on his stomach and was taking these pictures laying prone on the ground so he could get the perfect angle of this little girl with the castle in the background.
Oh
And
yeah.
I almost teared up, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I made sure I got that cast member's name, and I
Yes.
did a cast member compliment for him. And I've seen other cast members who, especially on Space Mountain, the little kid was a little bit scared, and the cast member who was loading people on did such a fabulous job of calming down this little kid who, it wasn't, super panicky, but you get a little bit nervous. Oh, it was top notch. It was amazing. That, again,
Well,
another one.
and I really appreciate too how they are with any of our special needs guests.
Hmm.
We had on our cruise, this was a very adult heavy cruise. I will say that because it's 10 days. It was adult heavy. We had a lot of kids. We had a lot of special needs families, which I love seeing them on the cruises. And we had one young adult special needs child person that absolutely the characters were her thing. That was it. And I watched them the one afternoon, and I don't remember which character it was, but it was Minnie Mouse. She took so much time with her, and they took as much time. They did not rush her. She was excited. She was getting pictures. She was animated. And Minnie just, I mean, it took as much time as she could to do this. And nobody was fighting over this. Nobody was pushing anything. They let her have her time. And then she moved on to the next one. It was just fabulous to watch it. So good to watch it. And I'm saying this not only as a travel agent, but a pediatric nurse. And this means a lot to me. So, you know.
Yeah, and so I've talked about this on the podcast that I'm a member of the 501st Legion, Rebel Legion, that we dress up as Star Wars characters, and we do stuff like this where we do hospital visits, or we'll do a walk for you know the technical. It's hydrosome. It's water on the brain.
Hydrocephalus.
Hydrocephalus. Things for people with fundraisers for people with Down syndrome and whatever else that we get to get firsthand experience with people with special needs of whatever kind. And there are some of the like we do the Special Olympics here in Morgantown, that we do the basketball tournament, and down farther south in Charleston that we'll do the Summer Olympic stuff with the track and field. And actually one of our members has two special needs kids they're early 20s or so, but they're involved in it. And with him being one of our events coordinators now, he's helped us to get more of these events. And such loving, amazing people that it is the best event we do each year, just because we are so welcoming. We have such a wonderful time with them. They're having a great time just playing basketball with their friends. They're having a better time whenever they see us come, because they remember us from last year. And so whenever I see, people with special needs, especially whenever they are treated, in such a loving manner as they get treated at Disney, like you're describing.
And that's how, and they do. I mean, it's just that's probably one of my favorite things about Disney. It's just how they do. And but I told you before we got on here, my dad was a hotel manager. So I grew up in hotels. I lived in many hotels. That's how we did things. And when we lived in California, we lived in Anaheim, which was, at the time, our hotel was like around the corner from Disneyland, back when it was Disneyland, and that's all we had. And so that's when you would go, let's go for the weekend. Let's go for the day. And it's all you did. And you had, this ages me, A, B, C, D, E tickets. So we had the tickets books. And then when we moved to PA and we drove down to Florida for the first time, we drove down when it was just Magic Kingdom. And then we had Epcot. So my husband and I went on their honeymoon. We were there on our honeymoon just after Epcot opened, literally the next year after Epcot opened. And the only two places we had down there was Polynesian and the Contemporary. And we dreamt and we said, one day we're going to stay on site at Disney. Couldn't do it then. We were on a honeymoon. We were broke, but we were going to come back and stay. It's like, yeah, this is cool. Now we've done this. This is neat. So Disney for me has been I introduced my husband to Disney. That's how he now is a Disney person like we are. My kids are Disney people too. It's Disney. And that's why we do Disney cruises.
And I mentioned on here before but my earliest memory is a few months before I turned 2 years old, when we went down to Disney World. And this was a little bit before Epcot opened. So it was just the Magic Kingdom, but my earliest memories are being at the golf resort, which is now Shades of Green. Oh my
gosh, yes, yes.
And so, that is the earliest thing back that I remember. And well, actually, no, it was actually being in the rental car, because we went in September, and having the love bugs being all over my blankie. So these are two bugs that kind of attached together whenever they made. They were everywhere in September. So beware if you're going down there at that time. But that's the first things I remember. So you can see it had an impact on my life. So, do you have anything else, or did you want to move into your travel tip, Maureen?
We can move into my travel tip. That's good. I mean, I could talk Disney cruises forever, because as I tell people, Disney cruise is my favorite form of transportation. So my travel tip, and this is based especially on this past year with so many things happening with air and everything else and the flights. On your packing list, number one, pack patience. Something will happen. Something may be late, a flight may be late, your car may not work, something may happen. Pack patience. Smile, be kind, and keep remembering you're on a vacation and it's going to be okay. Pack your patience.
It sure beats being at work. So
Absolutely.
your worst day on vacation is better than your best day at work, you know?
Exactly. Exactly.
Although, except for us, whenever we go on vacation, it still sort of works. So, you know, we
I
tough it out.
combine it. It's okay though. That's a good combination.
No, it's the old thing of whenever you love your job, you never have to work a day in your life.
Exactly.
So my travel tip is just like a trip to Walt Disney World Resort or a Disneyland resort, don't feel overwhelmed with so many things to do. Your goal on these cruises is to enjoy yourself.
Yes.
So if you are relaxing on the beach, then and that's enjoyable for you, relax on the beach. You know, if you want to go and do a million things every day, then do a million things every day. You know, you don't need to do everything on this cruise. You can always come back and do another one. You know, especially if you're traveling with kids. Sometimes the most fun and memorable moments come from the simple things in life. Like if you're on the beach building a sandcastle together, you know, especially whenever we're at the parks, read your kids if they're getting a little bit overwhelmed, if they need that break. I know, especially ours, who is super active, that she just sometimes needs that time to run around and be a kid and to climb on something and to not be waiting in line. So, we've mentioned on here too about you don't need to be on an attraction all the time. Watch the Dapper Dan sing, see the parade, watch this little stage show. Just sit back and watch people walk by. And as Maureen said, watch little kids interact with the characters, or just watch the little kids and the wonder on their face as they're strolling down Main Street. Or if you're on the cruise or at the beach or whatever, just watching life happen. That can be a memorable thing, that your goal is to have fun. And if you're having fun, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you are accomplishing your goal on that trip. So if you have a destination or experience that you'd like to have us discuss on the Where Yinz Goin podcast, or if you'd like to share your favorite destination or travel tip, feel free to contact me. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you are already working with a Dreams by Design travel advisor, please continue to work with him or her. Otherwise, Maureen, how can people get a hold of you?
My email is maureen@dreamsbydesigntravel.com, and Maureen is Maureen. My Facebook page is Dreams with Maureen. My Instagram is Maureen Dreams by Design Travel, and my TikTok is Disney Without Makeup.
That's how I always experience it, Disney Without Makeup. So
it only melts off. I feel like I'm Olaf. I mean,
it's whatever snowmen do in summer, right?
Exactly.
So with my contact information on social media, I'm at Matt with DBD on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Email is Matt, MATT, at dreamsbydesigntravel.com. Website for our company is dreamsbydesigntravel.com. And all of this information will be in the show description. So you don't need to have a photographic memory or worry about spelling or anything else. You can just look us up right there. So if you want to book a trip or have any questions, you know how to get a hold of us. Maureen, this has been wonderful.
It's been fun. Thank you so much.
Wonderful tropical vacation this evening. Or for those of you listening, whenever you're listening, tropical vacation. I can't wait to get down there and experience this for myself. The pictures are gorgeous, and I know the pictures don't even do it justice whenever you're in a location like that. And from what you're saying,
it's beautiful.
That's as simple as you can say it. It is beautiful. So sometimes the best things said are in simplest form, right? Short, sweet, and to the point.
Got it.
So please like, follow, subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend if you liked what you heard. We're trying to get the word out to as many people as possible. Please join us next time. We're heading out in that. We'll see you later.